Today's episode is dedicated solely to the college recruiting process. This is Recruiting 101 with Aaron Cunningham and Ross Hawley on episode 95 of the Baseball Forward podcast. Aaron Cunningham, welcome back to the United States of America and happy 2026 to you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be back on the good old soil of the United States.
Golly, I felt like I had you went on a trip to Thailand with your wife and family, and then I had a good buddy of mine who I do some work with as well, who has gone for a week in Costa Rica, and I'm like, I feel so lonely. I don't know what to do. Like, what am I supposed to do? So, hey, let's start with this because today this episode is going to be dedicated to high school tryouts and college camps. But before we get started, I want the number one highlight of your trip to Thailand or your trip abroad.
Okay. You know what? Honestly, the people of Thailand are just, the most genuinely happy and kind and just amazing people. I've been fortunate to travel a lot in my life, and I would put them second to none, man. I mean, it's
Wow.
it's it's genuine, like
Wow.
sometimes you go places and people are nice to you because you're paying them for a service or whatever. Um, every single person there that we met was just so generous and kind. It was awesome. I mean, the food was great. It's beautiful. Uh, but it was just refreshing to see, people who had no reason to be nice to you, and they're just like over the top. If you're listening, if you can make it to Thailand in your life, if you're fortunate enough to do it, you will not regret it.
Man, that's good to hear. And you know what? That's refreshing because in 2026, with just all the negative stuff you hear going on in the news, blah, 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 it's nice to hear that people are being kind all over the rest of the world. And you know what? Be kind in America. So with that said,
Yeah.
Aaron Cunningham, let's get this episode of the Baseball Forward podcast going, number 95 with Aaron Cunningham, Recruiting 101. Our topic today, high school tryouts and college camp. So I thought, when we had this conversation, what a brilliant, thought that you had of putting these two together because we're in the middle of January right now here in Texas. Mr. Cunningham's in Houston, and Ross, I am in Dallas, Fort Worth. But tryouts are coming at the end of this week for high schools if they haven't already had them. Some of them already have. Kind of the informality, I guess. But tryouts are coming, and then college camps are going to kind of hit that peak. And then we've got the baseball season, man. We are so close to baseball season. So great
Let's
concept,
go.
great idea today. Let's roll with let's start today with the high school tryouts. And Aaron, I want to lead off with just this, man. As we roll into this, part of the year, and you hear high school tryouts. What comes to your mind when you hear about high school tryouts?
I I know I'm on the travel side of things, but man, high school baseball to me is one of the best years, or the best years that for some kids that they have in the game, and lifetime memories, community, family. Going to battle with your boys in many cases that you've grown up with. Uh, just a special time, man, for those that love baseball. This is, like I said, I love travel ball, but I'm not going to even pretend to say that it's like high school. High school baseball is
Man,
special, man.
agree. I agree. And some of my greatest memories playing baseball were with my high school guys, and I don't know what to say. Maybe it's because this is the first time, and especially if you climb the ranks, this is the first time in the game that you spend as much time as you do with the guys, and you see what your teammates are putting in. You see what your coaches are all about. I think that's pretty special in terms of building that camaraderie. I want to lead with this one then, because it makes me think when I hear high school tryouts, I think excitement. I think maybe a little bit of nerve for some people. Not, hey, maybe JV, varsity, freshman, JV, where you're going to make it. I want to start with this. Let's lead with this. Let's talk about the importance of being a good teammate during tryout season and what that looks like to you, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, the making a high school baseball team, obviously talent is a big part of it, but these coaches, they've got to decide, you know, are you the type of guy that's going to help this program both on and off the field? And, being able to be a good teammate, man, I think in baseball almost more important than anything else, because it's a game
Mm,
where everything you do is individual, but it's all about the team. And sometimes you may not be in the game, or you may not be a guy it's their moment. But if one of your teammates gets down and you're picking them up, man, that can help you win a game, even though you may not even be in the game.
that's right.
And so yeah, it's a huge part of it, even in a tryout. Like your boy has a bad rep or something like that, or a bad station, and um, you being able to kind of pick him up and get him back into the flow is huge. And so, coaches that have been around a while, they're really good at being able to kind of see that, the eye guys or the team guys. And um so yeah, it's huge. It's massive.
In my kind of my perspective, I mean, tryouts, the word evaluation comes to mind, right? And I think high school tryouts for guys that go on, and that's why we're here. We're talking about, baseball and moving on and elevating the next generation. But when I think of the word evaluation, I'm like, man, somebody's always watching. And it kind of starts with that tryout scenario, right? You go into the tryouts. I think the most important thing is know that, like, if you're giving advice, if I was talking to freshmen in high school right now, and they're, hey, you're going into your first well, heck, even if you're seniors, I'd say somebody's always watching, whether it's your teammates, whether it's your coaches, whether it's a scout, whether it's a college coach. But when I hear tryout, I think evaluation, and I think it's very important for young men to go into this part of their year, into this part of their season, knowing that somebody's watching, you're being evaluated. Be a pro about it. When I say evaluation to you, speak on evaluation.
I mean, you have the obvious evaluation, right? That's your tools. How fast are you? How do you field the ball? How do you swing the bat? How do you throw the ball off the mound? All that kind of stuff. But a lot of it too is, how do you carry yourself? How do you handle the failure? How do you handle the success? How do you interact with your teammates? Are you a guy that's locked in and doesn't need to be given instruction more than once? Or are you a guy that
Mm,
needs to um, be told the same thing over and over? There's a lot that goes into an evaluation of a player. And uh, talent is usually going to carry the day. I mean, look, if you're one of the best players on the field, you can get away with some of the makeup questions. But for the kids that are not one of the best players on the field, all that stuff can make or break you. So, like I say, when you get into a tryout, there are things that you can control. You can control how your hustle, you can control your attitude, you can control your effort, your body language, you can control showing up on time. And if it's within your control, then it needs to be an A plus plus.
yes.
Because there's going to be things that go wrong. You might kick a ball, you might have a bad round of BP, you might get off to a bad start in your bullpen, whatever it might be. But if you have those bumps in the road in a tryout and your controllables aren't good, man, that's a recipe for putting yourself at risk of not making a team.
Mm. And man, I think of the controllables, and what kind of comes to my mind is coaches understand what a baseball player looks like the good coaches do. And I think the majority of our high school guys are so underappreciated because they're the heartbeat of baseball. High school coaches are, and they understand, like, I'm thinking through a player's perspective, but they understand that if you go and you kick a ball, I mean, they're looking at your actions. They understand that the errors are going to come. And I would caution, and I would urge the players to, as you go into this tryout season, don't be so focused on the outcomes, so much as you are on how hard do you play the game, how much energy do you have, how much passion do you play the game with, because those things are easy to see. And then the fluidity of movements, and, like, if you're prepared, um, that's all you can do. Go out there and work your tail off. have fun, enjoy yourself, but have energy and passion for the game. And don't be so concerned always about, hey, did I go 4 for 4 in my BP round? Did I do everything I was supposed to? Good coaches can see the actions, right?
Course. I mean, I don't want to sound braggadocious, but I can sit there and watch a kid take a couple ground balls and a couple swings and watch him play catch, and I can know if the kid's good or not. Um, but I always tell guys, hey, even when you fail, there's opportunity in failure.
Amen.
If you fail and you handle it the right way, if you take a bad rep and followed it up with a great rep, um, if you can do something and fail and be able to show those coaches maturity, show them the ability to turn the page, flush it, and be able to be on to the next movement, play, whatever it is, immediately. That's actually something I want to see. When I'm evaluating players, I can't give you a total evaluation on a kid until I see the kid have a bad game,
Mm,
or have a bad moment, because everybody looks good when and everybody handles themselves the right way when things are going well. Like, who are you when things hit the fan? Who
right.
are you when you're having a bad day? Are you when you're having a bad day? Are you looking for the exit? Are you a bad teammate? Do you shut down?
Mm.
Or can you be consistently you every day? Because the best players, even the best in the world, are going to struggle. And if you can't handle that the right way, you're a long ways away from your potential.
You know what? I want to say this too. It comes to my mind, and I'll I guess I'll quote my friend Matt Wilbur, who's the head basketball coach at Northern State in Aberdeen, South Dakota, Division II basketball program. But man, he's all about everybody knows what a bad teammate looks like. We all know what that looks like. We also know what a good teammate looks like, and anybody can be selfish and be down on themselves. But man, think about what it says about you to be up and to be caring more about yourself than you're worried about the outcomes and giving high fives even if you're not playing. I just think it's such a misunderstood tool for players to know as they go into into the trials and even the camps that guys, the guys evaluating you have a lot of experience evaluating physical talent. They understand what they're looking for, what they're in terms of the physical talent. Like the physical talent is what it is. Yeah, it's very rare that you're going to go to a tryout or you're going to go to a camp and you're going to pop 5 out and get a scholarship or get a varsity spot because of the outcome. They're evaluating, hey, what kind of a teammate is he? How does he treat his coaches? I'll say another a big one is, how do you treat your parents? I'll say this, Aaron, and I know parents aren't a big part of the tryout process, but in terms of evaluation at the higher levels, the it blows my mind how many players I see not addressing their parents as, and I'm not saying you got to say yes or no, no, ma'am, and all that stuff, but that how impolite they are to their parents and how just not the words disrespectful, but dismissive of their parents. That goes a long way because how you're with your parents the majority of the time. And if you're dismissing them, the coach is like, well, when he gets on campus, he's going to be this is an extension of who he is at his house or who he is at home. So he's dismissive of adults. That's not a good look. So I want to encourage to the players to say, hey, the physical talent is the easy stuff to evaluate. It's the personal stuff that is it's going to get you the scholarship or it's going to get you the next look or it's going to get you to the next team. I want to bring this up to you, Aaron Cunningham, on base episode 95 of the Baseball Forward podcast. You got a list of items that you give out for advice every year this time of the year. So let's run through these, and I'm gonna
Sure.
read off. I'm gonna read off number one. We kind of already discussed it, but I just want to get your take on it. Control the controllables: hustle, attitude, effort, body language, being on time. If it's in your control, make sure it's an A+ on tryout day. Talk on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, we touched on it, but there's no excuse for not being good at things that are within your control. You can't control a bad hop. I know nobody's trying to make a physical mistake, but sometimes it happens. We're human. Um, but running on and off the field, maintaining a good attitude, giving effort, having positive body language, showing up on time. Those are all things that there's no excuse if those things aren't good. And in a tryout, like we were saying, it's yeah, you're going to have guys that can just overcome all that stuff with just incredible talent. But even then, I've seen some incredibly talented kids who have issues with that, and coaches are like, "Look, we're going to take him because he's legit, but my gosh, we got issues."
Mm,
And if you're an average kid, that's going to cost you a spot on the team
that's right.
because, hey, man, I can find you on the scrap heap. I ain't going to deal with all this other stuff. You know what I mean? And
It,
so make sure those things are A+, man. I've seen kids not make teams, and I've seen kids that maybe aren't that good make teams literally because of this.
and I'll touch on it before we go to number two. Sprint your butt on and off the field. My gosh, that's the easiest thing to do. It is the easiest way for a coach to say, "Who's that? Who's that?" Hey, we have a rule with our 12-year-old group, 11-year-old group last year. You got 10 seconds to get on the field after the last out, and you got 10 seconds to get off the field after the last out. And I remember Coach Sullivan at Sac City saying, "We try to beat." We try to get everybody off the field before they get one guy to their position and vice versa. So think about those. That's the way you separate yourself. Let's get into this. Dress the part. Uh, Make sure you look like a ball player. Talk on that.
Yeah, I mean, look, showing up wearing the Crocs and socks and the basketball shorts and the big headphones on the man. Listen, I get it. Sometimes in travel ball, that stuff can get lax, and you can roll out to the park looking like that. This is a first impression. Okay, you need to show up in your uniform. You need to show up belt belt on,
Mm,
shirt tucked in, hat on straight. If you're a dude that rocks the eye black and does all that stuff, man, get it on in the parking lot before you walk in. You need to walk in looking like the person you're trying to present yourself for. I know you always use the point, and it's really just so spot on. But this is a job interview.
mm,
You in the real world, if you show up to a job with your shirt untucked, your hair all disheveled, looking like you hadn't shaved in 2 weeks, looking like crap. Guess what? That's an impression that an employer is going to say, "Ah, man, if this isn't that important to him, then it's not that important to me to take him at this job." It's the same thing. Like you'd be shocked. I've worked a ton of tryouts over the years, and I've been shocked at how some kids present themselves.
Give us, give
And
us, give us some examples of some of the
oh
worst
man,
stuff you've seen, Aaron.
some of the worst I've seen blue jeans. Oh, dude,
At a high school
that
tryout?
oh yeah, man. That one's near the top. Listen, man. I know some people don't have an idea, but like collared shirts, like you ain't going to the golf course, brother. You're coming to the baseball field. Um, and then just little things that irk me that aren't as big. Like, don't forget your belt. Look,
Yes,
don't be wearing white socks. Like I'm not talking about like stationaries. I'm talking about like the socks you wore to school that day.
that's right.
Um, have a hat, and preferably a baseball hat. Like just present yourself like this is something you've been doing for the majority of your young life. And
Mm,
um, if you're not sure what that looks like, then ask somebody. But I'm telling you, if you show up looking like the cut off sleeve shirts, hey man, it's
right,
in the gun show, man. Like
right.
if you're gonna do that, you better have some guns, man. I'm talking Hulk Hogan's, right? Otherwise, you better have some sleeves on.
Hey,
Um, so and look, in most cases, Dallas, even Houston now, it's cold. So have some sleeves. Coach doesn't want to look out there while you're in line for a rep and you're sitting there shivering, looking like, man, show up looking the part. Leave the hoodie in the car. Get you some good long sleeves that go underneath your jersey or your shirt or whatever you're gonna wear. Um, and roll out there looking like you're ready to try out for a team and you're serious about it.
I want if anybody listening to the Baseball Forward podcast, Recruiting 101, this episode, if anybody hears this, please send us pictures if you have the courage to wear blue jeans, because I'm like, dude, that's like almost legendary type stuff. Like, no, dude, I rolled out my blue jeans. I can't even honestly fathom that. And I want to touch on this. I want to touch on socks. Um, you said white socks. If you don't know what sanitaries are, look them up. Big difference. White Sox, if we can see leg, that's not a good look. Guys, please, it's not a good look. And again, how you do anything is how you do everything. That's how coaches see you. And you said something. If I show up late, if my shirt's untucked, if I'm not ready to go, that is who you are. That is who you are. That's who you're gonna be. So when Aaron says it's it's your first impression, that's how important first impressions are, because what those coaches are seeing is this guy's late to a tryout. This is probably one of the most important days, or a camp. This is one of the most important days of his baseball life, because there's not many of them. There's not many camps that you go to. There's not many tryouts that you have. This is one of the most important days of his baseball life, and he can't show up on time, and he can't. And he's got white ankle socks on, and I could see his white pale legs, and on and on and on. So hey, the last thing I'll say with dress the part is, if you don't know what it looks like, if you don't know what a ball player looks like, don't cry. You're not playing Division One. You're not playing varsity. Don't cry about it and say it wasn't fair. If you don't know what it looks like, the part of playing a good baseball player, a high-level baseball player, if you don't know what that looks like at this point, don't cry when you don't make varsity. Don't cry when you don't make or when you don't, you're not playing Division One baseball. That's like a layup. Okay. Talking with Aaron Cunningham on Recruiting 101 of the Baseball Forward podcast. Let's get to, I like this one, Aaron. Make eye contact with coaches when they are speaking.
When coaches are given instruction, they want to know if you're locked in or not. And it also is a sign of maturity, not being able, breaking eye contact, not being able to look a grown up in the eye. That is a sign of immaturity. And it can really go a long ways if they're given instruction to 40, 50. I mean, some of the bigger high schools close to 100 guys, and they're kind of looking around while they're giving instructions on how the day is going to go or how the stations work or whatever, and they see you locked in. uh, Humans, that's how we work, man. Eye contact creates memory. Eye contact creates all sorts of positive things. If you're kind of staring off, or if you're looking at the ground, or even worse, you're looking over at your boys. um I wouldn't say that's going to make or break you, but I would say that that is just one thing. Again, going back to the controllables, I can control eye contact. Look at them in the face, look at them in the eyes when they are giving instruction, because those instructions are very important. They're not up there just wasting their breath. They're giving you information that is important for you to know going into that tryout.
One of the most annoying things as a coach is taking a couple minutes to describe what we're about to do, to explain it, and you take your time and you want these guys to get it right, and then the second guy in line asks, "What are we doing? Well, how does this work? What's going on?" Because I'm just like, man, you had the opportunity. And again, guys, when you talk about impressions, if you don't know if you don't know what you're doing, one or two reps into the drill, that's a really bad look. And coaches don't like having to repeat themselves. I'll tell you a hilarious story, and to the day I laugh my butt off when I think about it. But I was coaching at Parish Episcopal in like 2013-ish, and I'm giving a pre-season. It was this time of the year, tryouts, and we're talking with I'm talking with a big group of pitchers, and one of the class clowns, and it was hilarious. I'm sitting there talking. I'm a minute into it, and this dude somebody lays the biggest fart you've ever heard, and I died. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. Like, but I'll say this: it came from the guy who I expected it to come from, and then later in the season, I just make a mental note of it. I'm like, okay, this is how he takes it. That's how he respects this moment, not just his coach, but his teammates. He doesn't want anybody else. He doesn't want anybody else paying attention to anything other than him farting. And then later on in the season, why am I not getting playing time? Why am I not pitching? Why? Well, how you do anything is how you do everything. And that was kind of, him farting was hilarious. I still tell my boys, it was like one of the loudest farts I've ever heard in my life. But I'm like, hey, I was like, this guy doesn't take anything seriously. And guess what? His baseball career wasn't very serious. All right, let's go to the next one. Be you. You aren't going to magically become Otani on tryout day, and your best effort Show the coaches what you're capable of. Be you. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, I see it all the time in tryouts. Guys try too hard. It's like in the bullpen or live ABs. The high school coaches are standing back there with the radar gun. If you throw 75 miles an hour, you're not going to magically throw 90 just because you want to. If you're a guy that in batting practice, is capable of hitting some line drives, and in your best round, you're gonna hit some line drives. Don't go up there trying to hit the ball over the lights. If you're a guy that doesn't have a certain skill set, don't think that that's going to magically appear on tryout day just because you want it to.
Good point.
And also know these high school coaches, look, I get it. Like, a lot of kids are coming up in youth, and they've been really good in youth baseball, whatever. High school coaches look at freshmen like they're dumb, they're small, they're weak, they don't know what they're doing. So they're not expecting guys to come out and look like they're all district varsity guys. Okay.
Good
So
point.
don't think you've got to come out there and look like the best seniors on in the program. Be you. If you're a guy that doesn't throw real hard, but can throw a couple pitches for strikes, get up there and do that. If you're a guy that isn't ever going to hit a home run, just get up there and take some good mature batting practice.
Good.
Um, and then again, just control the controllables and be yourself. Don't think that you've got to come out there and light the world on fire to make a team. Um, and so I've seen that a lot in tryouts. I see kids, they get on the mound, and this is a kid that's thrown strikes most of his life. He gets up there, a radar gun, and two varsity coaches are standing back there behind, the screen, and all of a sudden they're spraying the ball all over the place trying to light up the radar gun. When, dude, you're not gonna throw any harder than you're already capable of. So don't
Wow.
don't sit there and try to do too much, right? Like, it's there's an understanding for evaluators at the high school level of what a freshman looks like. And are there some special freshmen out there? You darn right there are. There's freshmen that there's not a ton of them, but there's freshmen that are definitely capable of being varsity guys. And if there's a guy ahead of you in the line that is that guy, just be you. Okay. If that kid comes up and his round of BP, he hits a few out, and he's just hitting balls 90 to 100 miles an hour, and it's just like one of those wow rounds right in front of you. Don't think that, like, if you step in the box and you don't do that, well, man, I'm screwed, I'm not going to make it. Yeah, they'll be impressed by that kid, but they've got to put a full roster together. So most high schools don't have 25 freshmen that are good enough to play varsity. So just get up there, be yourself, give your best effort, stay within yourself, and go hard.
That sounds rational to me. Like that sounds like a rational, not emotional approach to tryouts. Is just be yourself.
Mhm.
Um, you know, and I think just when I think of the tryout scenario or even the camp scenario when they, all the infielders get over to shortstop and we all take 30 hops and throw it as hard as we can across the diamond. I like the guy that fields it cleanly, right left field, right left throw, and has it out, and the guy's out by 10 feet because he fielded it with such rhythm and gets rid of the ball and puts it on the mark. I mean, an out is an out is an out. And I think the best compliment that you can give any player that's ever played this game is, man, he was a baseball player. Um, that doesn't mean you have to throw 95 across the diamond. That doesn't mean you have to hit home runs. It means you have to be a dirtbag. It means you have to try hard. It means you have to care, get outs, prevent runs, produce runs, whatever that role looks like. And the older you get, you'll realize, man, the roles within a team, they're all valuable. Just because you're not the 4-hole or the 3-hole doesn't mean you're not valuable. And I think the quicker you understand that, the better success you'll have in your tryouts and in your camps, because coaches sure as heck understand it. Talking
Yep.
with Aaron Cunningham on episode 95, Recruiting 101 Baseball Forward podcast. Um, I like this one. Don't be afraid to smile and show that you love being on a baseball field. Positive vibes, contagious, and every coach loves them. Love that. Talk on it.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a tryout. I know that, for a lot of you guys, you've been looking forward your whole life to being able to make your high school baseball team one day, and you work towards it. Um, but I tell kids this all the time. I've been around the game a long time, both as a player and as a coach. The kids that have had the best days of their life are typically the kids that are having fun, and the energy's up, and they're smiling, and they're having a good time. Um, Typically, if you look at a guy that's having a bad day, usually he's not smiling. Usually he's got negative emotion. So your brain is the captain of the ship, man. And
Love it.
if you keep yourself in a positive place, if you keep your brain in the right place and you're having fun, you're likely going to have a pretty good day.
Mm,
And from a coach's standpoint, I love good vibes, man. Who doesn't?
yes,
You
amen.
know, and there's a thin line, right? That doesn't mean be a joker. That doesn't mean, be smiling because you're being a wisecrack or whatever, but look like you love baseball. Okay. I tell people this all the time, man. I'd rather pull the reins back on a thoroughbred than have to kick a mule. And if you look like you're miserable out there, and if you look like you're like dreading it, or you're terrified to make a mistake, or you're anxious, um, look, that's understandable. It is a big moment, right? But find a way to enjoy it, right? Find a way. Like, you worked your butt off for most of these kids. You worked your butt off to get to this day. You really, really put in a lot of time and effort and heart into
Mm,
this moment. Don't be afraid to enjoy it. And like I said, coaches, we love that. I love seeing a guy that loves being on a baseball field. We're baseball guys. We
yes.
love baseball guys. And baseball guys love being on a baseball field. And that doesn't mean you can't be intense. That doesn't mean you can't, maybe that's how you lock in, is like this intensity factor or whatever. And that's fine. But don't be afraid to enjoy the moment.
I love that because you know what I think of, Aaron? I think, we started this podcast with like understanding the amount of time you spend with this team, whether it's high school, whether it's college. Nobody likes being around somebody who's nonstop intense, who's nonstop serious, who doesn't know how to have fun. Because if you can't relax and you can't enjoy and laugh at yourself and find the mistakes funny every once in a while, if you take it so serious all the time, you're just not fun to be around. Um, and it's that's not what winners do. I mean, winners find a way. I mean, I just think of like Tom Brady. I think of Michael Jordan. I think of like the greats. Anyone that comes into my mind, I'm like Shohei Otani. These guys are just enjoying the heck out of the moment. So I'll finish with this line before we get to the next one. Is if you're anxious and you have anxiety about playing the game, typically that means you're not prepared. And if you're not prepared, you can't have fun. So I would tell you this: prepare harder than anyone, prepare harder than anyone, work harder than anyone. And then when you go get your moments, man, just let it fly and let it loose and say that there's nothing else that I can do.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. I agree. Preparation's everything. I always compare it to school. Like, we've all had moments where maybe we didn't study enough for a test. Oh, how do you feel?
Correct.
Anxious,
Yep.
nervous, terrified of getting a bad grade. And then we've also been on the other side, hopefully, where we've studied our butt off and we've prepared as best as we can. And it's kind of like, hey, yo, give me that test. I'm ready for it.
Yes.
You know what
Yes.
I mean? And when you've prepared that much, even if you don't do as well on that test, it's so easy to handle that failure, because it's
That's
like, well,
right.
I gave it everything I had.
Man,
So,
that that's
that's to me, preparation cures anxiety more than anything else.
and gosh, it is that I love hearing that. And it's that's a controllable. That's a controllable. Um if you make a mistake, don't pout or show bad body language. So let's just title this one Bad Body Language. We all know what it is. What is it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the slump in the shoulders. It's the smacking your glove or throwing your glove. Hopefully, you don't go that far, but it's the rolling the eyes. It's all the little things, all the little cues as humans that we can very easily pick up in another human, that, hey, he's clearly very upset. Um, try to find a way to suppress that, and also understand, and this is easier said than done, but there's an opportunity in failure, right? There's an
Mm,
opportunity to show maturity. There's an opportunity to show that you can get past it and move on. There's an opportunity to show a coach that, hey, yeah, you know what? When I make mistakes, you can count on me to not fall off the map. I can keep playing,
mm,
right? And so even when you fail, try to remind yourself, hey, everybody at this tryout is probably not going to do something they feel great about. Even the guy that's having a great tryout, he may foul a couple balls off in the cage. You know, he may spike a couple fastballs in his bullpen. Nobody is going to have a perfect tryout. So what
mm.
you've got to try to do is figure out a way where when that moment happens for you, how can I flush it, show maturity, and be on to the next rep?
Love it. And nobody thinks about you as much as you do. Listen, you're
Right.
not that important. Like we're gonna have so many guys that are going to tryouts and going to camps, and this is eternal. But hear me, guys. Nobody thinks about you as much as you do. You think about your mistakes way too much. You think about your successes probably too much, and it's good to take pride in what you do, but the guys that are beating themselves up over all the mistakes and everything that goes wrong, half the time the coaches don't even know what the heck happened. They maybe they didn't see it, maybe everyone didn't see it, but it's never as bad as you think. But it's never as good as you think either. So just chill out and realize that it's just not that important.
Yep.
Um, ooh, I think this might be one of my favorite one here. You say tryouts are not a time to be the cool guy. Man, I can't stand the cool guy. What do you mean, Aaron?
Oh, it's just, and this is big with high school kids because they are young, they're impressionable, they care so much about the opinion of their peers. Sometimes you get out to a try, and like you said with the guy that farted, you want to be the guy that makes everybody laugh, or you want to, oh, I'm not going to sprint out to my position because maybe that looks like a try hard. um, be a try hard. Like, I
Yes.
want guys that try hard. Like,
Yes.
if you get a team full of tryhards, you're going to have a team that overachieves.
Yes.
Um, but being the guy that is kind of just out there clowning around, or distracting guys, or kind of making fun of the kid that's giving his best effort.
Mm,
um, Man, don't be that guy, because for one, that's just extremely immature. Grown ass man coaches are not going to look at that in a positive light, no
that's
matter
right.
no matter what. Okay, so if you're that guy, your 14-year-old buddies might be laughing. Well, your 40-year-old coach is going to think you're a clown, and if you're on the bubble, he ain't taking you.
Mm,
And if you're a guy that he thinks is going to influence the guys he likes in a negative way, he's probably not taking that in the program. I've sat in an office with some guys that are high school Hall of Fame coaches, and it's like, hey, Johnny's freaking pretty good. Like, what do you think? And they're like, yeah, well, he's a clown and a distraction. And you know what? I
mm.
got I got enough guys in this program. I only got to find 9 of them across 4 grades to play on my varsity. I don't have time
Wow.
for a clown.
Wow.
And it's like, wow, that kid didn't make the team, or maybe he got cut after a year or so in the program, and they kind of saw that he's that type of guy. So, man, just look, I'm not saying, don't, don't be friendly with your friends. What I'm saying is just be locked in, recognize this is a job interview. Save the clowning for when you guys leave the park, or when you're hanging out away from the ballpark. That there's no need for that at a tryout.
And I know this. I know this. You can tell me differently. Leaders, true leaders in life, they're not ever the cool guy. They don't ever try to be the cool. If you like truly, if you have aspirations to ascend to the top of this game or any sport in life, period, you're never concerned about your appearance and being the cool guy. You know what you're concerned with? You're concerned with your effort. You're concerned with serving others and being a good teammate. You're concerned with being coachable. And no matter what, so I think it's natural every once in a while, for maybe there a thought to seep in if you're an older guy and say, yeah, the younger guy, there isn't one successful leader in this world that would tell you making fun of somebody or going half-ass at something is going to get you far in life. So squash it now. You have the opportunity to squash it now, and just know that's not what leaders do. That's just not what leaders do. Leaders always they always make the next right decision, and the next right decision is what's best for your team, what's best for your your tryout, your camp. But man, being the cool guy is not cool at all. Ooh boy, we got two more here, Aaron. I can't even believe we have to say this one, but you have to say it in this day and age. Is I stay off your phone. Oh,
Man,
go
I know.
have at it.
Look, dude, I get it. The age we're in. I mean, these phones are addicting, man. I mean, I think we could all probably admit I could probably stay off my phone a little more than I am. But listen, just leave it in the car.
Yes.
Leave it somewhere where you can't even have the temptation of it. Um, because man, there's a lot of. But one, if you're on your phone, that's kind of a nonverbal cue that like this isn't the most important thing going on for you right now.
Wow.
Uh, Two, why do you need to be on your phone? You're at a at a high school baseball tryout. You know, if it's Instagram or Snapchat or whatever, like that can come. Hey, the tryout will be over at some point, and you can check all that later. Um, and it's a distraction, right? You need to be completely locked in and present with what you're trying to do. And if you're picking up your cell phone, there's nothing on that phone that's going to help you in the tryout.
Man, that's a good point.
So I always tell kids, don't even bring the temptation. Don't even bring it in your bag. You know, some kids will be like, "Oh, well, I'll just turn it off." Yeah, well, you can turn it on. Just leave it in your car. Leave it somewhere where it is not even an option for you. Because the other thing too is even if you leave it on, where it's on vibrate or whatever, man, if a coach walks in the dugout and the phone's ringing, I
My
mean, I
God.
know you know this too, being a coach, man, that is, oh, I hate that. It's like what turn the dadgum phones off and
Yes.
just lock in and be present. And like I said, man, we all can probably be on our phone less. Every adult in the world, for the most part, can probably admit, man, I can probably limit my screen time a little more here and there. But when it's, I know this, adults aren't going to walk into a job interview with their phone in their pocket and in the middle of it, pull it out and be like, "Oh, hold on, let me check my Facebook real quick. Hold on, I got a notification, boss. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, okay, next." Right. So
Yeah.
just leave it in the car where you're not even tempted. I promise you, nothing is so important that you need your phone in that moment.
That's I think of like Step Brothers in that moment. Pam, Pan, Pam, Pan. I think of like that. That's comical to me hearing you say that. But I can't believe that it actually occurs, and it made me think of my buddy Jason Nelson, Air Academy High School, mid '90s. My boy Jason, he was a senior when I was a sophomore. This guy didn't have a phone, but he'd always keep his car keys in his back right pocket. And whenever he hit, you running around the bases, you could hear his car keys jingling around. And we're like, "What are you doing, dude?" So phones, you keep your keys out of your pockets too.
Right.
I gotta ask this because to me, I'm like, I want your take on it. It's truly just it's an opinion, but one of my biggest pet peeves in the world that we live in, like recruiting, baseball, next level, preparation, all that development. Never once, and again, it's not my generation. Never once when I was getting after it did I think I wish somebody was taking pictures of me. I wish I want to post on it's wait, rise and grind. It's grind time. And I'm like, I never once did I get it. There are times when you want to take video of you hitting to see, how you're doing, and it's necessary. But I feel like that's false hustle. It's fake hustle. When I see the out here grinding, like how do we know? All we see is the 30 seconds of swings that you took. Is that all you took? I'm curious to get your take on the social media, um, the craves for likes to show everybody that you're grinding. Does it matter?
Eyewash, dude. I mean, I'm telling you, for me, look, I think that you need to use social media. We've talked about this in previous
Yes.
podcasts. You do need to use social media to help get yourself some exposure. Um, But yeah, I mean, it's just the generation we're in. I mean, they love attention. They love, they love the likes, that dopamine hit, man. It's our brains are wired to like that kind of stuff. So there's a part of me that sympathizes with it, but there's a time and a place, and like constantly, most of the best players I've ever played with didn't have to go on social media to tell everybody that they worked out today.
Man.
So, I say like, look, there put it every once in a while, put it up, whatever. But like, when was the last time you saw like Otani or Mike Trout or Paul Skeens or somebody like posting on their Instagram or on their social media like, at the field grinding today? Like,
It's
you don't have to.
expected.
Yeah, like that's like, congratulations, like, you woke up today, you brush your teeth, like these are all things that like we all need to be doing. It's not special that you're doing it. But it's, man, these smartphones and these social media companies, man, they're smart, and that, those dopamine hits, people love them, and they want to get praise, for taking around a BP or throwing a bullpen. But to me, it's just like, it's eyewash. It's not, it's really just, you're doing it for yourself.
Yeah, man, and you're doing it for the likes, and yeah, I'm curious. It's a wild world we live in,
It
but
is,
I
man.
love it. Oh, I'm out grinding. No, you're not. Stop it. Uh, all right. Ooh, all right. This is the last one here, and then we'll wrap it up here in the next 5 minutes. Uh, After the tryouts, shake the coach's hand, make eye contact, and thank them for the opportunity. This always helps them remember you in the case that you're on the bubble. Love that.
Yeah. It's a sign of respect. It's showing appreciation for an opportunity is always, something that I think can go a long ways. There's been I both on the travel and high school side and on the college side a little bit. For years, I've run tryouts, and hey, if a kid comes up and shakes your hand, you know,
It
you
feels
do
good.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you look at that kid, and it's like, hey man, that's a good kid right there. Maybe it's not like, if the kid's terrible, it's not like you're gonna like, well, you know what, he was god awful, but he shook my hand, I'm putting him on the team. But it can show, like, there's been plenty of times where, especially at bigger tryouts, where, oh yeah, I remember that kid. Hey, he was a good kid. He came up and shook all the coaches' hand after the tryout, and thanked them for the opportunity. Um, if we're down to the nitty gritty, that could tip the scales. But also, it's just a respect thing, man. It's these high school coaches don't need you in their program. They got to find 9 guys across 4 graduating classes to
Mm.
compete on Tuesday and Friday night. They don't need you, and them you getting that opportunity to go out and try out for their program, that is their life, that's their livelihood. Um, you should have respect for that, and
Good point.
so I think there's just it crosses a lot of different levels there. But I just think, look, there's no reason why you can't do that. Um, you know, Coaches are approachable. They're not gonna be like, you go shake their hand and they give you hey, they're gonna shake your hand and they're gonna say thank you for coming out,
Yeah.
and it's just little things like that though.
They're
Most high
separators.
school 100%. And most high school coaches are from a generation before the ones that these kids are trying out. Um, and back in the day, showing coaches respect was kind of just like a non-negotiable. And I know things nowadays, it's not totally bad, but you just don't see it as much. I just think that being able to kind of go up and do the mature thing, shake a guy's hand, look him in the eye, say thank you for the opportunity. Maybe that's a little old school in me. I don't know, but I just feel like it definitely can make a difference, if especially if you're a bubble kid, and even if you're the best kid at the tryout. Why can't you go up to that coach and say
Mm.
thank you, and start creating that relationship and show that person that, man, I'm a respectful kid who would love a chance in your program.
And you know what, Aaron? I sit here and I listen to that, and I'm like, you're describing life. You're describing the CEO. You're describing the guy that runs the office. You're describing the guy that's the project manager. What you're describing is you're describing the leader. And no matter how it goes, the guy that is wants to show appreciation, that shows a respect for the situation that they're in. Um, in every coach, uh, that's like you want to connect with the kids. You want to connect with the young guys. And I'm gonna say it straight up. One of my best relationships to the day is with a young man that wasn't the greatest at baseball, but because he handled himself in such a mature way that I'm like, this guy is destined for greatness. And regardless of anything, he's just a really good person to be around, and I can learn from him. And you think about that, young players teaching coaches humility and showing maturity. A lot of times you need that. I want to end on this, man. Or I don't want to say I want to end on it, because it might be worthy of a few more minutes. But when you talk specifically about camps, college camps, so this is high school tryouts and college camps. The one bit of advice that I want to give on the college camps is make sure you're going to camps at schools that you have intention with, and in schools that have intention with you to the best of your ability. Listen, I get it if you're a freshman, sophomore, and you want to go and experience UT and some of these big schools, and you're just going for the ambiance and experience. Totally get it, and learning and being around that. Totally get it. But as we start to weave our way into the recruiting side of things, guys, it's gotten so narrow. The hole to get through has gotten so narrow that you really have to be intentional with where you're going to these college camps. So yeah, all those things that we just talked about, fantastic. I mean, they are amazing, great pieces of advice, and I think they are words of wisdom, words to live by for tryouts and camps. But when it comes to the college camps, be diverse in your expectation. Don't think you're just going to roll up to 3 Division I schools and things are going to happen. That's not how it works. Know the camps that you go to. Make sure they're on the campus of the schools that you want to attend. And again, these are just like nuggets, but it makes me want to make sure that we're being thorough. And make sure that you have intention with the school and they have intention with you, meaning I'm going there because there's been some sort of acknowledgement that if I come here, there's going to be an evaluation, and after that evaluation, there will be some sort of a decision that's made on me. That to me is my advice for the guys going to navigating the college camps this time of year. What's your advice, Aaron?
Yeah, those, I mean, great points. I would say, like you said, if you're a younger guy, freshman or sophomore in high school, hey, there's nothing wrong with dreaming big and heading out to some big time camps. If you're a junior or a senior, though, then you need to start kind of like you said, it's starting to get a little more narrow. Be realistic and be intelligent about where you're going.
Mm,
Like if you're not, if you're a junior or senior in high school and you haven't heard from TCU, and they haven't even followed you on social media, they haven't given anybody that's in your circle indication that they may have an interest in you. I mean, going to that camp is really a waste of a weekend when maybe you could go to something like a junior college camp, a D2, a D3, where they're going to look at you and say, wow, okay, this is a guy that I think we can maybe start a conversation with. Because here's the thing, there's going to be 150 kids at an open tryout at the University of Texas. There's going to be 150 kids at Bluebell Park over in College Station for the A&M camp, the ones that are open. Um, though you can go there for the experience, but that's about all you can count on. If you show up to a D2, a D3, or a junior college camp, those coaches are going to say this kid is intentionally here.
amen.
Okay, so they're going to take you a lot more serious. They're going to look at you like he could be, he could be in Fort Worth at TCU right now,
Good point.
but he's out here in the cow pasture at a JUCO, looking for an opportunity. Clearly, this is a kid I need to see. I need to look at that. Um, so just be realistic about it, and if you don't know where you stand, that's where we've always talked about having a good circle around you. Ask your travel coaches, ask your high school coaches, ask your trainers, ask
Mm,
people that you trust, like, hey, where do I kind of fit in right now, and where do you think I should go? Here's a few camps that I've found that I'm interested in. Which ones would be the best ones to go to?
Mm.
Because again, there's only a couple weekends of camps, right? We just had the ABCA last week. All the coaches were up in Columbus, Ohio. We've got a couple weekends before Division Ones and NCAA schools are allowed to start practicing. So this is kind of this weekend and the next. They're kind of your two big camp weekends, and you can only go to a couple of them. So be smart about where you go and try to get yourself something out of them other than just going to the A&M camp, throwing 82, and then writing a report saying like, "Hey, buddy, thanks for coming."
Yeah,
Um,
man. Oh,
go somewhere where they're gonna want to continue conversation with you. If you're old enough, maybe they might even start a conversation about potentially an offer or something like that. But go spend your weekend the right way, and be real about it. It's okay if it's not the SEC or the Big 12. It is totally fine. Like most kids these days are going to start out at a lower level and work their way
mm.
up. That's just how this is working out nowadays. So find a good place that makes sense, and talk to the people in your life that you trust about you as a ball player, and make sure you spend these weekends wisely.
Man, that's beautiful. Separate yourselves with the things that you control, guys. High school tryouts, college camps. I love the controllables. Separate yourselves. Separate yourselves with the little things. Eye contact, dress the right way, shaking hands, sprinting on and off the field. Because even if you don't make that team or you don't get an offer to the school, at least you did it the right way, and you'll be able to feel good about it. Take us out, Aaron.
Oh, guys, hey, whether you're trying out for your high school team, whether you're going off to a college camp this weekend, um, enjoy it, play hard, give it your best effort, put your best foot forward. If you fail, show maturity. If you're having a great day, continue that day with great positive energy. And, just realize, man, no matter what, your baseball life is short. So every day you get to be on a baseball field should be a day that you're enjoying. If you're not, you need to figure out a way to get yourself in that mindset, because at the end of the day, man, it ain't that serious. Go out there and have fun, let it rip, and get after it.
Let's go. Let's go. Aaron Cunningham, good having you back in the US of A, my friend. Recruiting 101, episode 95 of the Baseball Forward podcast. We'll see you guys.